All right, and now we are at the last tribe, and that is going to be Undead. Tavern Tier 1 looks unchanged, Tavern Tier 2 looks unchanged, Tavern Tier 3 looks unchanged. Notably for that, Undead actually have one of the best early games, especially when you have something like Nerubian Death Swarmer or Scarlet Skull. So early game, they're still going to be a pretty good threat. Let's start at 4. It looks like they moved Nubrak back to 4. This is a That's a duos one. Maul Caster. Battlecry, destroy a friendly undead to discover an undead. So this is kind of like um there's like the tribeless one that was a 3, cost 4/4 or whatever, that let you destroy minions. So this lets you like potentially create a triple with Caretaker. The only thing that's unique about this is it doesn't put it back in your hand, but you do get a discover. So this is a way like maybe to make a Risen Rider into a like Tavern Tier 4 card or something later in the game. So not a bad pickup there. Definitely going to be pretty strong. Prosthetic hand teams is a duos one. Temperature 5. So Catacomb Crasher is still going to be around with Caretaker. We have Dustfall and Butcher. Avenge 5, get a Butchering. It's okay. It's a little bit of attack scaling. Like we don't have Champion anymore, but Champion, you're probably getting about 3 attack every turn. If you're generating an Undead every turn, then I guess it's okay, but um, I think it's probably not quite as strong as Champion. Moreau's Steward of Death is back in the game. This is Reborn Death Rally, give your Undead 3/5. And then Sin Runner Blanchi, this is Reborn with full health and enchantments. We talked about this a little bit in Beast, but this is going to be really strong with something like Moreau's and KT, our boy, is back. Wisp is still here. So Temperature 6, notably Kel'Thuzad is back. Deathly Striker is still back. Interesting. There's 4 Tavern Tier. This is why I don't really understand some of these like designs. There's 4 Tavern Tier 6 for Undead. For Mech, we have, is it 6 too? Well, this is a duo, so there's only 5. But like it just seems so unbalanced sometimes. Like, did Quillwar have this many? Quillwar only has 4, so just very interesting. How they do this layout for how many options you have at Tavern Tier 6, or Tavern Tier 6. But so Deathly Striker's still around, Eternal Summoner's still around. Um, Noisel of the Many Faces. Whenever you summon an undead, give 4 friendly undead 1/1 permanently. So what I kind of imagine there being is now a like attack scaling comp that uses both Noisel and Deathly Striker. You would probably run um Dust Fallen in that just because you need enough attack. So those would be your 3. You'd run Titus in that, and then probably Nubarak just because you need the attack scaling, and then you would just do a bunch of the summoning kind of units. So something like Bonehead, Rider, Caretaker, put prosthetic hand on all of them. That's kind of what I imagine happening. The other comp is going to be the overflow comp with Catacomb Crasher and Caretaker. You'll notice we don't have the Abomination on Tavern Tier 4. There is Kel'Thuzad. A little trick that you can do is if you reborn your Catacomb Crasher, you can duplicate those. And Titus is going to be pretty important in this comp as well. All right, so now let's start looking through trinkets. Um, Urns are still around. These are lesser and greater trinkets with 4 attack and 8 attack. The 4 attack one's generally going to be pretty good if you have a couple of summoning units. Um, the greater one, you're generally giving up too much for a greater trinket to use that. Baleful Infants, start a combat, give your left and rightmost undead minions reborn. Not terrible. The issue with that is, so I'm actually kind of curious. If your rightmost minion isn't undead, I'm assuming it goes to your like unit 6 spot rather than just skipping it altogether. If it skips it altogether, this is really bad. Even if it doesn't, I just like it's so easy to give your minions undead that really this just gives you like a little bit of tempo for like 2 or 3 turns. That's about it. Bleeding Heart. After 7 friendly minions die, get a random undead. This is a lot worse than it used to be. It used to also play the minion. Granted, it cost like 7 or 8 back in the day, but only getting the unit isn't really that important because we already have Deathly Striker to get and play, so Bleeding Heart's just going to be a lot worse than that. Um, let's see. Butcher Sickle, 8, cost 8 greater, get a Butchering Sickle and a random Undead. This is just too expensive, I think. Granted, because we don't have Champion again, you might want that extra scaling, so there is a place for it. Comfy Coffin, after you cast a Tavern spell, your Undead have +1 attack or 2 attack. You don't really have any spell generation, so I don't see that being super relevant. Deathly Phylactery, discover a Death Rattle minion. Your first Death Rattle every combat triggers an extra time. This is going to be really good in the Overflow comp, just because you can get, let's just say you McCall, you have like a McCall, a Titus, and you're hitting a Caretaker. Like this is giving you 6 units, 12 with the Titus, potentially like 24 or 48 if you have Golden. Well, I guess Golden McCall doesn't proc it multiple times, only on the first proc, but you can see how that like you have a lot of potential for exponential scaling with this. And if you don't get the best death rattle, you might get something that just generates you a little bit of value to try and um, stabilize in the mid game. Eternal Portrait, this one is only relevant to know that you only pick this if you already have a Eternal Knight. If you don't, you don't. Eternal. But if you do have it, then you just want to level up as fast as possible, and then you eventually want to just try and use Kel'Thuzad to make your entire board golden Eternal Knights. Here's a new one, enigmatic headstone. At the end of turn, your undead have 1 attack where attack this game wherever they are. Um, at the end of each turn, you're undead. So this is just giving you 1 attack every turn. I don't think that's very relevant. Um, let's see. Um, I guess the Horde keychain, your minions from Tavern Tier 3 or lower have 7/5. It's okay for stabilizing because you summon a lot of like 1/1 units, but generally they should have like 40 attack or so on them. So I don't think that's going to be extremely relevant. Kel'Thuzad Portrait, greater trinket costs 4. Get a KT after you destroy a minion outside combat. Give your minions +2/+2. A little relevant with like Drakari that you might be able to get +4/+4 about it. But the issue with this is like you're going to be hitting a Morose, giving your minions +3/+5 is another +2/+2 that relevant? I don't really think so. The main thing you're getting out of this is getting the guaranteed Kel'Thuzad. Um, my Maulcaster Portrait. Get a Maulcaster whenever you destroy a minion outside of combat. Get a 3 gold coin pouch. If you remember, the Maulcaster was the 4 cost that destroyed an undead, discovered an undead. So this is a way for you to go infinite, pretty not infinite, but to at least get a lot of stats. Mulligan started whenever you would summon a minion that doesn't fit your warband, give your minions +5 attack. This is relevant with the overflow, assuming you have a couple token units. This just makes it so the couple of tokens that like you do summon when filling up your board are a little bit stronger. Um, Future Sight Sticker, Lesser Trinket, craft a custom undead at the start of turns. Repeat this. Biggest thing with this is you just want to make sure you're leveling up early. Um, you want to get those 6-drop trinkets. This is a way to have your lesser trinket give you late game value. Um, any more are worth calling out the Titus portrait, especially with overflow. All your overflow buffs are now getting duplicated and extra, or like getting doubled. Um, I guess Selfless Portrait, just gonna call it again. Undead generally don't have Divine Shield. That's a way to give them Divine Shield. Staff of the Scourge, Lesser Avenge 5, give a random friendly minion Reborn. Notably, it only costs 2, but it is Avenge 5, so you might get 1 or 2 procs from it. You might get 3 if you have the Striker, but that's about as good as I see happening out of it. Twin Sky Lanterns ends up showing up all the time as undead, but you don't want to pick it because you're summoning like a 1/1. Unholy Sanctum. Whenever you trigger a death rattle, give your rightmost minion +3/+3 permanently. The greater gives +6. I would say if you have a couple early death rattles, let's just say 2 or 3 from your first couple shops, It's probably worth picking this up to give you some just stats and stabilize and let you aggressively level a little bit. In the late game, you can put these stats on like your Titus or some other key unit that you'd want to, make a little bit buffed up so they don't die um, right away. Um, Yeah, it looks like that is all the undead ones. I'm sure there's probably a bunch that I skipped, like with every other tribe. I think from here, what I'll probably do is start evaluating trinkets and the neutral minions in upcoming videos. But those are at least all the tribes. Those show you the cores of every comp that you're going to want to be picking from, and then from there you can kind of determine which neutral minions um, are giving us new builds, which ones just give us value in the mid game. Generally, the way that the neutral minions work is we use them as value to be able to get up in Tavern tier or to transition between comps. Something like Brand allows you to transition. Something like Titus enables a lot of comps. So that's kind of what I'm seeing as the next relevant thing. But generally, the tribes are almost should be prioritized more for your learning because those are where the key minions for comps are going to be coming from. So, all right, let's get ready for season 10. See y'all. Bye.